Are live back on Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona. With me, talked to the gentleman a number of years now. Did we first meet in Houston, or was it
Houston,
Atlanta? I think it was Atlanta.
it would have been Atlanta. Yeah, they're both right there together, right?
Well, there was a space because
I've seen
26.
you so many times. I
No,
don't
that
know,
part is
man.
true. That
I
part is
think I
true.
met you back when I played Little League.
No, you need to stop.
It's that long
You,
ago.
you need to stop, Randy. I ain't that. I will, but I ain't that old. With us, of course, is Randy Grimes, the former NFL center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I know we talked in Tampa when
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
was still
Ghost town.
still mad about that.
Yeah, that was a
Still mad
ghost
how
town.
had that game turned out that weekend. But also joining us is Scott Stevens. Stevens, how are you doing?
Doing good. It's good to be with you today.
Well, first things first. You, of course, for people who don't know, founder of Athletes in Recovery.
Right.
Give our audience your story. I know we do this every year.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and the elevator version is, I had an addiction to pain pills. I was that guy willing to do whatever I had to stay out on the field, and it developed what I thought was a necessary evil to play the game and to play every snap. Turned into a full blown addiction, and I took that addiction into my private life and into my retired life, and that's when things spiraled out of control. And it was 20 plus years later that I finally raised my hand and asked for help, and I wanted to make all those years of struggling and suffering mean something. So I started Pro Athletes in Recovery, started working with the NFL Player Care Foundation, started telling my story. Guys were coming out of the woodwork, asking for help, guys that I played with and against. And that is kind of God's way of keeping me connected to a game I love so much. And little did I know that Major League Baseball would get involved, hockey, basketball, pretty much every sport you can think of that has an organization that supports their former players is who I work with, and proathletesinrecovery.org.
I usually try to ask you a question that I don't think I've asked before, and I think I just popped one in my head. But you said it took you 20 years to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
What was the tricking point? Of why 20 years? What was it that made you finally decide after 20 years, I need that? I need that.
Well, a lot of the reason I stayed out for so long is the same reason a lot of other guys do: pride, ego, guilt, shame, all those things. And, I thought I was the only one struggling. And here I was, a second round draft pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I've lost everything as a result of this addiction. So there's a lot of shame there, too. But a good friend that I played with in Tampa named Tom McHale passed away doing the same thing I was doing, self-medicating injuries he got while he played with the Bucs. One morning, he just didn't wake up. My daughter wouldn't let me come around my first grandchild because I wasn't fit to be around her baby. And my wife had to take a step back because she couldn't stand to watch me keep killing myself. So that was the perfect storm that finally got me to raise my hand and ask for help.
And Scott, tell us the thing with you and Scott. You know what?
Scott's my good friend from Houston. We coached Little League baseball together.
We beat up on
he's
Houston
an
a few
Aggie.
times
He's
over
a
the last
Texas
years. I like
Aggie.
that.
He's a Texas Aggie, so I don't hold that against him. That's one of the things he's had to overcome.
Well, I do hold some things against him. He blocked for Walter Abercrombie when he ran for 273 yards against my Aggies on Kyle Field.
In the rain.
Damn,
In the rain.
Torrential rain. And my fiance and I did not have a good evening that night. I promise you. I wasn't in the mood for it.
I know those feelings.
So Randy and I go way back. I watched him play in college, and certainly we coached when our sons were 5 or 6 years old, started coaching together, and just have been best friends through the years. And I've watched him struggle. I thought a lot of times he wasn't going to make it. And I'm so glad he's done what he's done. It's an amazing story.
Now, talk about the sudden cardiac arrest. I know that's something that you're involved with.
I had a son that was 6'9", 300 pounds, getting ready to go play college football. And he walked by me one Sunday afternoon, 10 days before he was to graduate high school, and said, "Dad, I'm tired. I'm going to take a nap." And went in my bedroom, sat down in a recliner, and took a nap and died. And I heard about a young man at the school district next to ours that had an ECG that found his heart issue, and he had heart surgery. And he wore the same number as my son, 76. And I almost lived in that school district, but I chose to live in Crosby, Texas instead of Huffman. And I knew that if Cody would have had that ECG, he'd be with me today. And he would have had that college career that he wanted so bad. So I started a foundation that does heart screenings in Texas, and we go all over the state. We got a law passed in 2019. It took me 7 years to get it passed. where when the students get a physical, they can opt in to an ECG. And that's my encouragement to the parents that are listening today. Get that ECG. We know our child's body changes on the outside. We watch them grow. Their heart changes also. And, DeMar Hamlin had been screened every way
Can you hand me
you
the
could
camera while you're doing
possibly
it?
screen.
I'm sorry. Could you pass me that camera? I want to. Yeah. Bring it.
And
You need to see it.
he had an unfortunate blow to his heart. But a lot of these kids have structural electrical problems, and that's what we're looking for. And we're finding them.
When your son passed away, when they did, I guess the autopsy, did he have an enlarged heart, or what was the cause of his cardiac arrest?
They actually called it idiopathic left ventricle hypertrophy. One of the big causes of sudden cardiac arrest is hypocardiomyopathy. I messed it up. HCM, or lung QT, or Wolff Parkinson's White. Cody's was not diagnosed any particular case, but his heart was enlarged. But everything on that young man was enlarged. They say a heart's enlarged. It's about the weight of the heart, not necessarily the size of the heart. So the heart gets thick, and it doesn't have room to pump the blood.
Yeah.
And we don't know that without an ECG. A doctor can't pick that up with a stethoscope. Stethoscope's a wonderful tool. It's 200-year-old technology. And we can do so much better for our kids. We can screen them for $20. We can go to any school district. There's 1,076 school districts in Texas, and we can go to any of them and screen these kids.
And they've saved hundreds of lives already.
No, I can. I mean, I can imagine. Because you do hear, and I don't know how much of it is heat related or whatever, about especially high school football kids that somehow pass out and die on the field and stuff like that. So
is that heat related? Any of that? No.
Texas has lost one student to heat related issue in the last 30 years.
Wow.
American Heart Association says that our youth under the age of 18, we lose 7,000 to 23,000 of them a year to sudden cardiac arrest.
I didn't know that.
It's a big problem. It's the number one of our student athletes.
Wow.
Other than accidents.
Wow.
And we're not doing much about it. And it's so easy to do. An ECG takes 5 minutes. We can do them for $20. Even at a doctor's office, they're not a lot of money.
So how do you get that implemented, I guess, nationwide, I guess, within the high school so then that way it doesn't become an issue going further?
State by state. And I'm working on it. I've got friends that, like me, have lost students, lost children to sudden cardiac arrest, and they're presenting bills in Florida, California, New York, Indiana, Wisconsin. I could name off 20 states right now. Mm-hmm. But getting a law passed is an endurance test. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And you've got to convince a lot of people. I had some wonderful people that helped me get it done. I had some lobbyists pro bono. I had a state rep that just said, "This is mine. We're going to get it done." He was a bulldog. And that's what it takes.
Before we go further, promote the websites. I know after
Get Scott.
Yeah, CodyStevensFoundation.org. The name of the foundation is actually Cody Stevens Go Big or Go Home Memorial Foundation.
Okay.
But the address is CodyStevensFoundation.org.
And I am ProAthletesInRecovery.org. And I don't know if you remember, this time last year, my book came out. So go to offcenterthebook.com and order my book. Okay.
The one thing I want to ask you, gentlemen, before you go, is your thoughts on Sunday's game. You better pick the right team this time. But look, I gave you grace 2 years ago.
I'm an NFC guy, man. No, you can't hold that against me.
Look, 2 years ago, you played for the Bucs. But come on, you on a Kansas City podcast.
Man, Eagles have a great offensive line. It's going to be smash mouth football. Can KC keep up with smash mouth football?
Do not forget, though, because of that Tampa Bay game, they got an all-new offensive line. So, let's not. You got Joe Tooney, who's all-pro. Creed Humphrey, second-team all-pro. Trey Smith, he needs to be all-pro the way he does. So, give me your scoring predictions.
I'll say the Eagles by a touchdown. I'm sorry, man. I love you too.
I
just can't do it. I just can't.
What about you?
We actually screened Channelview High School when Jalen Hurts was playing quarterback with his dad. So I've got to go with the Birds, and I'm going to go 28.
That's fair. That's fair. Look, I just want to go.
Is from my hometown, too.
East Tyler, Texas. Yeah. Well, my guy Michael Coleman is here too. He just arrived. So, perhaps you two can link up and do a little
Tyler Rose stuff.
Do a little Tyler Rose stuff. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for stopping by.
You're my hero,
you
man. You outdress everybody here.
Wow.
I'll give you that.
That part is true. Pleasure to meet you, sir. All right, we'll be back after this timeout.
Kansas City Cocktail Company is a mobile bartending caterer serving the greater Kansas City area. They specialize in creating craft cocktails and providing exceptional service. Their mission is to provide their guests a unique bar and beverage experience and to make their hosts look like superstars and allow them to enjoy the party. KC Cocktail can bartend any event or any size group or drop off their craft cocktails right to your door. They have multiple mobile bars, including their signature bubble bars, a vintage bar cart, and a horse trailer bar for outdoor venues and events. Check out their website at www.kccocktailco.com or their social on IG or FB at KC Cocktail Company to get more info on bar setups, pricing, and availability. Or you can call 816-456-4388 or email at hello@kccocktailco.com.